Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
So, Dean, unfortunately, everything has been so calm. We were just saying we're having you on today, so immediately I will be called a Hamas terrorist sympathizer. And then when I have Ben Glebe on again, I will be called a Zionist hoodlum. So this is how my life goes.
And both are accurate. That's what happens,
Yes,
right?
that's
Exactly.
right.
So that's the world we live in today. It doesn't matter. The truth doesn't matter anymore. People, when it gets, I always think people about the Middle East. People get emotional about it.
Yeah.
Understand that. I even get emotional. I try to
Yeah.
tone it down. And at the end of the day, don't lose your humanity is the guiding principle that I live by for this and all these conflicts.
And by the way,
an Israeli child killed or a Palestinian child killed by militants or war machines is just as wrong and just as painful. And if we can start there, then we can maybe find common ground in the long run.
And as a talk show host as well, Dean, as I always say, if you agree with everything anyone says, you're an idiot.
Yes.
But, that's the thing is people don't seem to get, I'm sure you get this too. I'm never listening to your show again because so-and-so said this on your show or so-and-so said that. I don't agree with everything everybody that comes on my show says. Like, this is America. That's the whole point, right?
Well, on my show, I make every guest write out what they're going to say in advance. So word for word. I'm like, I don't like paragraph 3, line 6. You're going to say, I don't like that. Scratch that. No, people say things sometimes on my show. I'm like, oh my God, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. This is the end, my last show. And other times people say things that make me think. I might not agree, but it challenges me, and I know it's challenging listeners as well. As long as it comes from a good faith. We're not going to have bigots on the show. It's a good faith discussion.
We defended Rashida Tlaib when Marjorie Taylor Greene put forth this stupid resolution, that called her a terrorist and an insurrectionist and just, was way over the top, but then Rashida Tlaib, from the river to the sea, all this stuff that is very hurtful to a lot of Jewish people is hard to defend. But what you said in the opening, Dean, I agree with about people are understandably emotional, especially Rashida Tlaib. She has family there,
Right.
So, maybe we got to all give each other a little bit of a, break,
That's exactly. Look, it's become tribal, and people are blind in tribalism that I see. Where that if you offer any kind of sympathy for the other side, some people in your own community might attack you for it, and that's painful. Rashida Tlaib using the term "from a river to the sea." People can debate is that appropriate or not. To me, the real issue should be the thousands of Palestinian children who have been killed. That's the discussion I want to have. I don't want to talk about river to the sea. I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about the Israeli hostages who should be released by the Hamas terrorists. They should be gone. But right now, the suffering by the Palestinians in Gaza is something I've never seen in real time play out in front of us. We watch it go from a terrorist attack by Hamas, which was brutal, to then this reaction, which now we're seeing literally thousands of people. I know so many people who have lost family members. Yeah. My friend from San Francisco has lost over 20 in Gaza. Justin Amash, who I've met him, former Republican member of Congress, is Christian. His Christian family was hiding in the church in Gaza, and the Israeli military bombed a wall saying they acknowledged they did it. They said, we were going after Hamas. They killed Christians in the church, cowering there. This should not be happening, and it is, and I don't know what the long term is going to be. I'm really hopeful. We say inshallah,
Dean,
God willing, that there's peace, but I don't know.
Hamas is awful, and I think Netanyahu's awful. And Netanyahu is part of propping Hamas up. And so it just couldn't be a bigger mess in that. I'm reporting this morning about the tragedy of Al-Shifa Hospital. More than a month after the war in Gaza broke out, the fighting has one salient symbol, Al-Shifa Hospital in the western part of Gaza. The combination of it being the largest, most important hospital in Gaza, a fast-growing refugee camp for desperate Gazans of all ages, and a tool used by Hamas as a vast human shield above the organization's main command center embodies the impossible challenge it presents for Israel. Evidence accumulating since the war's onset indicates Al-Shifa has become the central headquarters for the Hamas leadership's activity. I mean, we all are horrified by what we're seeing, Dean, but it seems like when Hamas leaders themselves, I don't know if you saw Jake Tapper's piece, they're themselves saying out loud, they don't care about Palestinian deaths. That's part of their strategy. I don't know what we do about an enemy like that.
Hamas is no friend of Palestinians. They are about themselves only. I don't know. I've seen a disputed account by saying that the hospital is not the base under the ground. I can't tell you if it is or not. I'm not there. I don't believe Netanyahu, the guy who's on trial for corruption. A little hard to believe that Donald Trump in the Middle East. But at the same time, I can't say it's not true. I just don't know the answer to that. But we're living, we have a situation where we're going to see more and more heartbreak, and this continues. People more and more clamoring for a ceasefire. There's ways of, look, Hamas's military capabilities have been unbelievably degraded, obviously, and it's over this month fighting. There's ways to strangle Hamas now from ensuring they don't get a penny, and having Arab allies engaged in that as well to help the Palestinian people, so that the military part of this can hopefully come to an end yesterday. Yeah. But that's a different conversation.
Our friend Malcolm Nance has been taking a lot of heat online. I know you've had him on as well. It's he just tweeted, because there's so much misinformation in general, Dean, but this, like you say, when the emotion and everything is all amped up, he just said, I literally just saw MSNBC feature the same guy at Al-Shifa Hospital screaming with bloody hands. Producers, for sake, check your sources. He is fake. And there are some of these, obviously there's a lot of real suffering going on. There's enough to go around, unfortunately, Dean. But that's the problem, is there's also so much misinformation. Now there's people saying October 7th didn't happen.
What? That's insane.
Israel made that up. I mean, it's just,
Denying the suffering of innocent people, whether they're Israeli or Palestinian, is horrifically wrong. There are Palestine deniers and Israel deniers, and we have them both. Is there misinformation being pumped out as propaganda? I'm sure there are. BBC did fact check, not that specific thing that Malcolm pointed out, but another thing where an Israeli military officer was saying, look, it's the same people. And the BBC, it's called BBC Verify, their fact checkers, said that wasn't true. So look, the Israeli side's going to pump out propaganda. I'm sure the Hamas side is doing their own. With that guy cited by Malcolm, my understanding, but I'm not 100% sure, he was a social media influencer going around showing different parts of Gaza to people, make himself the center of attention. But that doesn't, to me, these debates mean nothing to the parents who are lost thousands of children in Gaza killed by the Israeli military. That's where my heart is. That's my only focus. These debates over minor propaganda or slogans is ridiculous when you see the horrific suffering of a people here that I've never seen. And I have no family in Gaza. They're in the West Bank. But if I don't speak up for Gaza, what would stop the Israeli military from doing what they're doing in Gaza to my family and displacing 1 million Palestinians for security reasons? Just say it's security. Or displacing my fiance, she's Israeli. She's Palestinian, but she's Israeli, saying we have to get all the Israeli Arabs out of our country now because they're a security risk. Because some in the Israeli cabinet, Netanyahu's administration, have advocated that. So I don't stand for civilians in Gaza. There's no limit. Just like you say to stand up to Putin. You don't stand up to Netanyahu now. There's no limit to this, and that's my concern. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel.
Well, it's just, there's so many on every side of it. Andrew Weissman tweeted, let's be clear, shooting at a Jewish day school, assaulting Jewish college students, tearing down posters of kidnapped Jewish children is not activism. It's anti-Semitism, and it needs to stop. And I do feel like, again, like Malcolm's been calling it out on both sides, but, as a terrorism expert, he has a very specific view. Again, I don't agree with everything he says. I don't agree with everything anybody says that comes on my show. But, he has a specific take that, and there is a line that terrorism is terrorism, whether it's Putin against Ukrainians or Hamas against kidnapped Israelis. I mean, it's... And now, like you say, then the cycle just continues. And now,
that's the sad thing.
Yeah, Palestinians.
People suffer.
Yeah.
And it just continues. My goal is that I've been long advocate of a two-state solution, Israel and Palestine next to each other.
Yeah.
What the solution is now, I have no idea. But we need a just solution where Palestinian and Israelis mothers don't have to fear when their children go out, they're not going to come home. That they can dream of a better life. That in Israel, they have a lot of that. They're lucky. In the Palestinian territories under occupation, especially Gaza, the idea of dreaming of a better life is a cruel dream. A dream that's never going to happen, because there are Palestinian children who got Rhodes Scholars, literally, and the Israeli Netanyahu administration won't let them out to go to study in Europe. That's how cruel Netanyahu's been, and that's not now. That's a year ago. The cruelty
I've said it over and over.
Netanyahu is off the charts.
Yeah, he's a far-right crook like Trump. I hope he goes to prison. But anyway, Netanyahu rejected calls for ceasefire negotiations Saturday, said in his remarks that the campaign in Gaza will not end until Hamas is eradicated and the hostages have been returned home. I mean, Oh my God, Dean! It's just even talking about this makes my head because of course he's saying they won't, this campaign won't stop till they release the hostages. They're saying we're not going to release the hostages till the campaign stops. I mean, you've got our politics here so scrambled. You got Bernie Sanders saying there can't be a ceasefire while Hamas is still in charge. He would be considered far left in our country, and so it's just. It always strikes me this is the chaos and division that Putin loves, which is why he, I'm sure, helped fund and train Hamas, because he loves this in America.
And look, they're connected. Obviously, Hamas, Iran funds Hamas. Russia is very close with Iran. And what you're talking about, I wrote an article 2 weeks ago at MS, quoting my late father, who always said the fighting of the Palestinian the Middle East conflict stays there. And it didn't mean we didn't discuss it. But there's no place for hate on our soil. There's no place for anti-Semitism. There's no place for anti-Arab or anti-Muslim bigotry. If you are an anti-Semite, I don't want you on the side of the Palestinian people. You're not helping me. Yeah. And I really would like to hear from my Jewish friends the same thing, denouncing those who are spewing anti-Arab, anti-Muslim hate. And, the idea from the river to the sea, it comes from Netanyahu's own party, the Likud party's platform from 1977, which I've written about and talked about, literally talks about a greater Israel between the river to the sea. My fiancée, Hen, says she knew river to the sea, not from Palestinians, from Israelis openly advocating an idea of no Palestinian state whatsoever. So my plea, Stephanie, is that if we're going to say, and we should, if you don't believe in Israel, you're anti-Semitic, then if you don't believe in a Palestinian state, you're just equally as bigoted. You should be equally marginalized and blacklisted the same way. Double standards may dehumanize a people, wherever the double standards are. So that's the goal. If you want to find common ground, it's about for peace, finding common ground, don't lose your humanity. Put yourself in the shoes of the others for a second.
And by the way,
what they're going through.
The vast majority of the anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in this country comes from the right wing. I keep, pointing to this. To this piece my former radio host in Chicago wrote, saying right-wing radio absolutely is to blame for the stabbing of the 6-year-old Palestinian boy. His family said so. I mean, so that's why it's, I think, more important than ever for us to stay united, on our side. Whatever our differing views on this or that, or like you say, all the minutia of all of it, or, statements or whatever. And like you say, you can excuse some people for being passionate. You're Palestinian American. Ben Glebe is an Israeli American. You both have family there. It's Rashida Tlaib, as I said, her grandmother's there. Right. So here's one thing you always do is bring people together through comedy. The New York Arab American Comedy Festival, it's 20th anniversary. I did not realize you were that far in.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, big show on Broadway. Tony Shalhoub is going to be is going to be your guest. It's Sunday, November 19th at Town Hall Theater. That's very exciting.
Broadway Theater. It's 20 years. Me and my friend Maysoon Zayed have been producing this not-for-profit festival. It's our 20th anniversary, and we're doing it at a Broadway Theater. Town Hall. It's called Tony Shalhoub. People know from Monk and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He's won a bunch of Emmys. He'll be our special guest, and then we have a lot of great comics. It's a not-for-profit festival. We're donating a portion to ANERA, A-N-E-R-A, organization that helps Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza since the 1960s. They actually work with the U.S. government, USAID, so they're very effective in helping Palestinians. So we're donating some of the money there, but it's going to be a fun night. Like, it's Nat Geo, but with comedy. Like, you're going to learn about Arabs through laughter.
So my God. And Dean, more needed than ever now, and that's fantastic that the proceeds are going to them. So anyway, but because, and I love that when we had Ben Glebe on, he's like, I go on Dean's show all the time. I mean, I feel like...
Ben's my friend.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the best way to solve this is through, comedy and people that love each other and go, okay, I don't agree with everything you think or feel about this, but that's America, right?
It is, or a physical challenge. So me and Ben are going to have a battle in a ring.
Oh, that'd be hot.
Look, me and Glenn, I bet
you're
me
both
and Ben
hot.
agree on fundamental things. That on politics we agree all the time, but even the Middle East, if people are progressive, if you don't check your progressivism at the door and talk about the Middle East, there's ways to move forward.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you listen to Stephanie's show, you can have $5 off tickets to the show.
Oh my God.
It's ArabComedy.com, but if you email me, I will send you the code. Because I'm Arab, so I'm haggling with myself. I'll give you $5 off, my friend. You email me, dean@deanofradio.com. I will send you the code, $5 off for tickets this Sunday in New York, ArabComedy.com.
All right, stop with your Islamophobia.